Meagan Michael. I am a seer, a seeker, a visionary, and a medium. Every Sunday, I present to you spiritual thought leaders from around our world and beyond. So today it is my special honor and privilege to have with me an amazing friend of mine. But she's the most incredible guest. She is super high vibrational. Most of you know her. Her name is Serenity Sam. Sam is a practicing positivist, law of attraction and spirituality teacher, public speaker, musician, artist, amazing artist of all kinds. Oh my gosh. And host for the live broadcast show Alignment Alchemy, when I will be her guest next week as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
Please join me in welcoming Serenity Sam.
Hooray! I can hear the applause all across the internet.
Me too. Oh my God. I've seen some people like they have the applause button, you know. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll get that too. But I'm just really excited to have you on my show, Sam. I love you so much. We worked together multiple times, and I've always been such a fan of all of your work. You are creative in more ways than most humans are usually. It's just incredible, really. I mean, I've seen her. Oh, we'll get into it, but let me start over here, and this way I can share it out. I always want to start out with childhood, or I guess I'm interested in like your path to the law of attraction, so you can go about it, get there, take whatever path of least resistance to get to where we want to go. But I am interested in your creativity, and were you aware of that as a child, and was there any spirituality in your childhood? And I'll just give you that whole package and let you unpack it while I'm sharing.
Oh, I always love being creative. I was the sort of person that, if you gave me a towel, I would make a top out of it.
Wow.
Or, and my mother was just always just such my biggest fan in every way, shape, and form. And she just encouraged me, just gave me the freedom to be creative. And she just always loved art. If you saw my mother's house, you would just not believe the extent of love that my mother put into the home.
Wow.
And put into the visual side of it. My mom is really a tapped in, tuned in person. Never a practicing anything, but she's just always, she's an internal positivist as well.
Okay.
And I do pity anyone who tries to say that word.
The positivist. Yeah,
I've made it up. I love making up words. I love making up my own language, my own things. Just doing something, from yourself is just such an incredible thing to do. And I think that's why I'm very passionate about wanting to help other people break free into their creative zone as well, because it was done for me. And I know that we really have to feel so comfortable to be creative and to destroy things, dismantle things, reinvent things. And the sort of amount of freedom that you already have to kind of get in your mind to even begin is, quite something. And it's one real massive blessing I always really attribute to my mother, that she gave me the sort of foundation to be an incredibly empowered, positive and creative person. She always admired it. I was always admired for that quality, especially that I was able to just
really nurture that in you,
do all sorts of mad things. And they never even flinched, when I sort of said, "Oh, I'm going to hitchhike to Toronto and I'm going to become a rock star and I'm going to be a drummer. And, this is what I want to do." My mother drove me to the highway, and dropped me off with full blessings of like, "Sam, I know you can do this. We're here if you ever need us, but you can do this, kid."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Do you have siblings? I've never really asked you that question. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have an older sister and a younger sister and a younger brother.
Oh, well, you have a large family, and compared to me, that's my through my lens, it looks like a large family to me. So,
Yeah.
are your siblings, your brother, your sisters, and your brother, are they creative like you are, or is this something like unique to Sam?
Everyone in the family is ginormously talented.
That's amazing. I love that. And your mom is talented.
But not everybody is as happy about it, let's say, as me, if you know what I mean. My older sister is an incredibly talented person. She's gone down the very professional road and is highly successful. But, she's still got so much more within her inner creativity as well. And perhaps sometimes things like work do kind of, you get very good at something and then you just keep on doing that, which is fair enough. I do understand it. And then we all absolutely admire my older sister. Like she is really successful. She's not just a little bit successful. Like she built herself like from the bottom up and has achieved everything you could possibly imagine that one would want to. But she doesn't have quite the level of, let's say, freedom, that I've experienced in my creative life. And so, everyone's on a different path. My father's very creative. My father is a pianist and plays banjo, acoustic guitar. He loved music. And that's another empowerment that I had from Dad, that, he loved, we always had a big stereo. We always had a really good needle on that stereo. We always had big speakers. We always had troves of albums to listen to. My dad would just bounce around in the house, wobbling around.
Oh my God. I love that. You know what's interesting? I'm listening to you speak and I'm looking, reflecting upon my own childhood. And I was creative as a child, but I didn't feel free to be me. And it wasn't nurtured the way, and I really love that yours was. And now I am super creative. And but I really love what you're saying, that people have to like love themselves. You have to trust. You have to have a really firm, this is my understanding for myself. I really had to appreciate and love myself and stand in my own power and completely detach from any desire to have, not any desire. Of course, it's nice if people like your work, especially if you're making it for a business, but I don't create things because of other people. I create it for me. And I know you get this, but honestly, years ago, I really wasn't in that space. So what would you say to somebody else who was like where I was maybe 6 years ago, who never did graphic arts or anything, and they have this passion to do things like paint maybe, or whatever? What would you say to them? Because Sam paints too, guys. She's amazing. I'm telling you. She makes clothes. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
I love it all.
Yeah.
I give everything a bash. I'll just give everything a bash. I like to spray paint boots, and then I like to make a pair of jeans. And then I'm the sort of person that I just feel unlimited. I just feel like I can do anything if I put my mind to it. And what I would say to everybody that was ever going to start out with anything like this, let it begin with love. Let it begin with love, and then see where it goes. But when you begin with love, like my drumming career began with such pure love. As soon as I sat in a drum kit, I just knew this was for me. I loved it so much. I was prepared to do anything to do it. I was just like hooked straight away, and I did it absolutely for the love, and the career came later. But actual just doing it. So if you're going to do something, just really revel in something that you just absolutely turns you on. Like just no one, like you've never been turned on before. Like relationships are like this as well. I find, like when I met my husband, we got together, and the love was so pure, and and everything was done out of love when we met, and it wasn't about where's this going, or what is this, or anything. It was just like, wow, this just feels so good, I want more.
And you guys are a beautiful couple. Your husband's very talented as well. He's a musician
Oh
too,
my
correct?
God. He is a genius. He is an absolute genius, but he's in more of a scientific
Mhm.
and technology sort of way. So we're just this real polar opposites as well. I'm the spiritual one. And he's a very spiritual person as well, but very skeptical.
I understand.
You
I
know,
understand. And I'm sure that that makes for some interesting expansion in your life.
and you just got to know when to keep your mouth shut as well.
Okay, then.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, whatever the path of least resistance is, right?
Yeah.
And
Don't throw
sometimes
your
that's what
don't
it
throw your
is.
pearls before the swines, guys.
Oh my
Just
God.
know when to keep your mouth quiet.
So okay. So at what point? Okay, so you were a drummer, am I right? You were obviously female drummer, which is really cool,
Yeah.
by the way. And that what you were doing, and at what point did you come upon or be drawn to the law of attraction and to creating your own reality? What am I asking? I guess I'm asking you to get us up to speed as to when you started to create your own reality deliberately. Thank you, Spirit.
Yeah, about 3 years ago. 3
Okay.
years ago, I came across the teachings. I was getting more and more disgruntled with the 12 steps. Let the truth be known. I was getting fed up with people being negative. And I'd only just sort of started getting into the Abraham teachings. And I understood it very quickly on that we've got a point of attraction and that we are of vibration and that what we are thinking about, we are attracting. I got that really, really fast with the teachings. I thought, I get that. I know this from being a recovering addict myself, that I have to be very aware of my thoughts, and especially any relapse, these sort of thoughts. Like a relapse doesn't happen out of the blue.
Right.
There would have been a thought process that would have led up to it, most definitely, right? There's all sorts of sort of boundaries moving out. So, I'm very, very aware of thoughts. I'm very, very aware of spirit through the 12 steps as well. And there was just
Let me just interrupt for 1
quite a
second.
few people that were.
Just for 1 second, in case, I'm sorry, that was kind of an abrupt, rude way for me to do it. I just wanted to let you guys know we're talking about recovery and AA, and right? Am I right, Sam? I just want, because I think some people may not know where we are right now. How did we get from there to here? So I just wanted to fill everybody in. We're talking about
NA.
like NA, Narcotics Anonymous. Okay, so please continue. I apologize for that.
Yeah, it's a group of people that dealing with life and trying to get off of drugs and things and live a really good life. And there's so much good in it. It's just a most incredible thing, and I would not be where I am without it. But I am like 18 years clean as well, it has to be said. So, I was doing it for quite a long time. I understood it, and I lived the program inside and out. And it just got to the point in me where I was like, I really want to be more positive, and I want to expand. And so these thoughts were going through my mind. I want to expand. I want to be more positive.
We're having a little bit of I'm going to refresh my browser and see if that helps. Let me see if, I think you're
anything like this. Let it begin.
Okay, I think it's only on my end.
Can you still hear me?
I'm going to.
Just see what's going on with C. I've got center stage. Hello.
You miss me?
I did. Oh, one second.
You started to break up, and so I saw that everybody else could see you. It was just me that couldn't, so I had to refresh. Okay, please continue.
Make sure. Or you know what? I'm just going to do something as well. I'm sorry if I get knocked out. I will come.
Sure. I want to say hello to everyone. Hello, Amy. Hello, Thalia. Hello, Tamara. Hello, Jessica. Ooh, is Sam back? Not quite yet. She'll be back in a moment. Oh, I hear her, but I don't see her. Hey, did you guys see? Look what I got myself. A beautiful, isn't it gorgeous? I love this so much. This is my new mug. Now, I live in Florida, but I love buying myself Florida souvenirs. So I have magnets and mugs, all the things I didn't get as a child that I wanted when we came to Florida to visit. Now I get to enjoy them. Yep, Sam is back. Okay, my mug and I will be quiet as we move over and let Serenity Sam tell us more of her story. I think this is so interesting. I really do. Is everything okay over there?
I'm cool. I'm good. I'm thinking to go again.
All right.
Oh man, like the program teachers just knocked me for six. I was just like, this is it. I know I'm a co-creator with spirit. I know because I'm so creative, right? I know that the intelligence, is of a higher consciousness, a higher power, whatever we want to call it. And then when I started, like, honestly, see, it's very rare that I actually really agree with someone 100%, like 100%.
Okay.
And when I started listening to Abraham, I thought, this is really, really speaking the truth to me. Like,
Yes.
my truth. This is my truth. This is answering questions that I've had. Who am I? Where am I coming from? How do I deliberately create my life? How do I get in alignment with a higher power's will or my will? And how do we work all this out? How do I get happy in a world where there's so much unhappiness? How can I still care about people, still care about myself? It started answering all these questions that I've had. How can I deliberately, and I like a practice as well. How do I practice being Sam? How do I get to know who Sam is? And what is Sam? What am I? I know I'm spiritual and I know I'm human. So what is going on? And she just started answering every one of those questions and beyond. But because I'd already been practicing a spiritual program for it'd be 18, 17, 16, 15 years at that point, that I'd been getting into alignment with spirit for so long. And I had to get into alignment with spirit in order for spirit to hold the shape of a spiritual life for me. When I didn't have the strength to have it myself at that time, I was giving it all over to a higher power. It's like, I need you to help keep me stay clean.
Right. God outside of yourself, right? The higher power externally, and you were giving it. See, that's the problem that I had with the program myself. But I want to keep talking about this because
it did work. It did work. That concept worked. It did keep me clean, and it did keep me very serene and very centered on spirit as well. It was very real.
It was
like I was able to leave
what you
5
needed.
stone. I was able to get married and stay married and be like calm through all these situations that come across you. And when you're an addict as well, one of the things that we suffer from is a terrible temper and terrible resentments. It's something that, that manifests through our wonky thinking. So, it was all being held with the veil of the divine, and I was being empowered continually by my higher power as well, with like transmuted information of how to be in what is the loving way of look. Well, how do you look at this through the eyes of source? That was like continuous, and it still is continuously looking at life through the eyes of source. So that was for a long time practicing that, a long time. So Abraham came into my consciousness, and I really truly believe came into my consciousness to further on this seeing life through the eyes of source and allowing. 12 steps allowed me to explore the concept of a higher power and to stay clean, and which I feel has always really helped my connection with source.
Yeah.
Because I'm very clear-minded. I'm not thrown by any substances in my mind. I'm not thrown off course through any poisonous kind of substances going into my cells and everything. And that's part of it, I feel. But it then went to the next stage where it was just source, started communicating to me saying, you are a creator. You are a creator, and I am now going to empower you with the knowledge that you do have the same elements of what you think God is, you have these powers within you that
yeah.
we want you to develop, because we know, and this is the next massive thing about the Abraham teachings that it has empowered me to do and be, is I have the right to be happy.
Yes.
I have the right to be happy. So
We
this
all
is
do, guys. We all have the right to be happy. You have the right to be happy. So you gave yourself that permission. Was that like a
and I was hanging on with the 12 steps, people still complaining, still, all of this sort of disgruntlement. I was still holding on to that last little nugget that I had to understand what love was trying to communicate to me, was that you don't have to suffer. You don't owe anybody anything. You have the right to be as happy as you want to be. And you've got the right to choose what comes into your reality. You've got the right. So you do not have to take this. You do not have to listen to this. You do not have to do anything that you are not enjoying. We want you to enjoy life. Now it's time. Now you have done all the whatever you've done, you think you've had to do to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all have these closed valves that we think things, and that just stops things from happening. And now I know that I was at a
Based on old programming. We're programmed in certain ways, and I mean, even from the time you're a childhood, and you want to please your parents, and then you go to school, and you want to please the teacher, and then you get a job, and you want to please the boss. You're always trying to please somebody else. Some of us more extreme than others, but that's how we're programmed in society. And so then you start to deprogram yourself, right?
And you start to not trust yourself.
Right.
You start to not trust your own guidance that's within. And so I'm all about empowering people to start really, really understanding that you've got a relationship going with your inner being, and that they are communicating to you through your emotions, through your feelings. And once we understand that we've got the right to be happy, that's kind of the first hurdle, really. Perhaps the first hurdle is even accepting that you have an inner being.
Okay.
It's not so hard for a lot of us, because soul, we have been even the most sort of spiritually minded person at this moment in time will somewhat think, I bet there probably is something kind of like a soul, there is some sort of thing beyond just this matter.
Right.
So that's the first thing, is accepting that you do have a counterpart.
Is something kind of like a soul.
You've got a counterpart.
Yes.
In the spirit world. The second thing that the 12 steps taught me in a massive, incredibly beautiful way is that my higher power, or my inner being, is my best friend. The 12 steps taught me what true love was, what really true love, like that you can really trust your higher power, that you can, this is something I had to totally dismantle what the word love meant. And I had to completely get a new definition that's been reinforced through a relationship that I have been engaged with, because my higher power has done things that were not possible for me as a human being. I've definitely put hand on heart and say I have had a spiritual transmutation. I have had a transformation through spirit. I know me as well. I thought I knew me, but honestly, I'm just a totally different person. I have evolved into a totally different person than I was when I was younger, and to stay clean, and you just really got to get it into perspective here. I have not had a drink or a drug or a cigarette for 18 years through all circumstances, and I was bang at it for almost all of my life, from the age of 11. And for that to just get corrected, like really, honestly, it was like an overnight thing for me. Everyone's got a different story.
Sure.
You know, it blew me away. It's like I couldn't believe when I opened that valve, when I was ready, it was easy because it was through love. It wasn't through hard work and struggle. And that's what I have learned through all of this. It's not hard work to feel love. It shouldn't be hard work. Love is an easy, effortless, strong and powerful force. And when we're feeling in alignment with it, it feels good. That is the benchmark. That is the total benchmark. It feels good. It feels so right. It just feels so right. And it feels so right to let this go. And when I've gone vegetarian, it felt so right. And it was so easy. I was just like, this is what I'm doing. And then, you know, when I lost 5 stone, this is what I'm doing. You know, when I decided that I wanted to change it, this and that, this is what I'm doing. This feels just right. You know, it just feels good. It's soft. It's beautiful, you know?
Let me ask you this, Sam. So when you're noticing, because I'm noticing this in my own life, and so I guess I'm interested in how you're perceiving this. When, like, okay, in the past, when there was something that like, I really wanted a lot, of course, as we both know, every subject is 2 subjects, right? Okay, so if you want to just let everybody know what that is, so, and then I'll finish what my thought was. But
that every subject has every time we think about anything, there's the wanted aspect and there's the unwanted aspect. It kind of hits you at once. It's like, you know, every time we think about something, there's going to be the lack of it as well, because every desire that we have is in the becoming stage. And if we had it, we wouldn't be desiring it.
You explain this so well. I really love that because we both have the same teachings at the core of our everything that we create. I know because you know that's how I'm feeling about it anyway. Because the base of everything is how you feel about yourself and your connection with Source. And Sam and I are both very much into the teachings of Abraham. And so, but what I'm feeling, what I noticed in my own life is that, like, things that in the past that I would have been like, oh, I really, really want this. Clearly, I'm really actually focusing on that I didn't have it, or otherwise I wouldn't be like, I really want it. I really need this. But now when I get these things, sometimes they go unnoticed. I know it sounds weird, but sometimes they go unnoticed because it was so commonplace. It was just so everyday. It wasn't like, bang, a miracle happened. I get those too. But a lot of times I'll find like, oh yeah, that's a regular part of my everyday life. It used to be like, oh, I really wish kind of thing.
Yeah.
You ever notice that? And do you have that experience too? Or is everything like,
Well, no, because it's like after a while when you're feeling good all the time, just really good things happen all the time. And it's a shock when it actually goes a bit wrong, or if you fall into your wonky zone, because the dominant force is goodness. You know, the dominant force is good. And it's like the more that you realize that your imagination is such a wonderful place. And when we clear out put it in, to just sort of say it bluntly, when we clear out our nightmares, okay, in our mind, our worries, our fatalistic thinking, our stinking thinking, as people have said, when we clear out all of that, like sort of fantasizing in a fatalistic way, put it that way, we do it. We have to admit that we do it.
Yeah.
For starters, we fantasize down a road. When we get really good at trusting our imagination, and that we really harnessing the what's going on in there before everything starts coming on the outside, when we can lie in bed and imagine the thing that you really would love. Let's say, I always use myself an example. And there's 2 ways of looking at everything. So I really want to be a really well-known, in our own circles, musician. I really want to see this manifest in my lifetime. I want to see thousands of people singing my songs. I want to walk up on that stage and I want to touch that keyboard and I just want to go for it. And I want to feel that feeling of that I created that. You know, I want to feel the projections behind me. I'm looking at the musicians I'm performing with. I see the bass player. I see the guitarist. I see the drummer, and I'm going to jump on the drums as well. And I see this whole scene in front of me. And I lie in bed and I fantasize about that, what I'm going to wear. I'm fantasizing about walking up them stairs. I'm fantasizing about those dry eyes. You know, I get right into it. Now, that is a really fun fantasy. But come on, guys, what's the opposite? Fantasizing that is the most stupid idea in the world, that your husband doesn't agree with you, that you know, nothing like that's ever going to happen in my lifetime. That is the most crazy freaking fantasy bull that you've ever thought of, and just give it a rest. Just do something more normal in reality, and you know, and it just you get further and further and further and more like disconnected from your happiness.
I think more people do that than the other. I think, right? Wouldn't you say that?
We've got to get good at understanding what our desires are and get really good at stoking the fire of what really turns you on and makes you so happy. And we have been taught all through our lives by different people. We have given the power away to everybody that, you know, this and that, this and that, this and that. And we've really got to fine comb it like we did in the 12 steps. Here we go back to the 12 steps. I can't escape this thinking because it was so helpful. In step 4 and 5, we had to fine comb our life and talk about our negative thinking. What is stopping us from having a good life? What is stopping us from going forward into recovery? What is stopping us from going forward into this relationship with a higher power? That was the question. We made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. We thrashed it all out on paper, and then we exposed it to another human being who was in a spiritual place to hear us. And they listened to us with love and kindness and compassion. And in the end, you know, whether it happened or not in physical terms, they put their arms around us and said, listen, it's going to be all right. Mm-hmm. Just keep on going, guys. Just keep on going into the positive zone. I've done things that are even worse than what you shared to me, for God's sakes. Just get over yourself, right? So this is the same sort of thing. It's like, get over yourself. Get over yourself. Get over all this negativity that you're spouting off to yourself, because there's something very important happening here as well that people may not be aware of, that I'm, you know, wanting to teach. That we have a point of attraction, and that we are attracting to us whatever we're thinking about. So if we're thinking about all these horrible things that don't help us, we're going to start seeing that on the outside. We'll end up marrying someone who is unhelpful. We'll end up doing all sorts of things that block our creativity and block our happiness. Right. We are the perpetrators. We are the ones. We have to stop blaming everybody. We can only look at ourselves and say, what can I do about this? What can I do? And it really is one little step at a time, one day at a time. And after a while, like the sort of recovery thing, all of a sudden there'll be that day where you never even think about drugs. You don't even think about your ex. You don't even think about it. And you will not even think about your negativity fantasies. You will only be thinking about stoking the fire of all the things you really love. And that's when you start seeing them all pop into reality.
I love what you're saying. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It is a big thing to take on, but you don't take it too seriously. You only do what you can in each day, and you know that you can only do so much at once. And again, you just gotta keep on loving yourself, being so kind to yourself through this whole process of being aware of what's going on. And we have 2 points of attraction as well. Just to mention, we've got a point of attraction as a human being, and we've also got a point of attraction of our inner being.
Yep.
Our inner being is pure positive energy. This is serious. This is serious knowledge to behold in your lifetime.
As I'm listening to you talk, I'm aware that, okay, so in my youth, I had plenty of things going on in my life that I created, but I didn't think it was a bit like that at the time. And so I've been to many meetings, and none of them were, well, very few of them were because I really wanted to go. But I've been to a lot. And I honestly, it really helped me a great deal. I never followed the program. I never did what you did. It didn't work for me in that way, but I carried with me all that I needed. And that did help me to get to a point. I mean, I also haven't been doing anything in years, many more years than I can even think of. Same thing, cigarettes and drugs, whatever. And I don't mean same, but similar. Anyway, what I'm thinking here is that if I'm listening to you speak, and had I back, like see Meagan when she was, I don't know, 18 in drug rehab, a 28-day program when I was 18. All right, pretty much, I think I was 18. Anyway, so if I heard you speak instead of the AA meetings, which is my first time I ever was exposed to an AA meeting or NA meetings, and I'm like, I don't understand, because and for me, it was, well, it doesn't really matter. What I'm saying is because you're empowering people and you're telling people that you can be clean and sober and empowered and love yourself and not be giving all your power away and slapping a label on yourself and saying, I'm this, and that's it, I'm doomed for life. It isn't like that. And I know that I love that fact that you're addressing this. I think that's, I know I know you're not going to go against anything because that wouldn't be the path of least resistance, but I do feel that it's kind of psychic what I'm saying here. There's another path. There's a path that you're opening up, your own path, that's going to help a lot of other people who haven't achieved the level of a happy, healthy life that you and I both have, and some people who may, of course, still resonate with the regular 12 steps, but then there's going to be Alignment Alchemy, Sam's AA, Alignment Alchemy, right?
It's just great having all sorts of options in life.
Yeah.
Why not just have loads of options and lots of diversity? And what I am offering and saying is for a particular group of people that I'll come across in my lifetime. And, I just embrace it so much. And it's so exciting to be involved in expansion of thoughts, and to just feel so like in the middle of this energy. So it's just like, I have no idea where it's all going either. See, I have no idea. All I know I've learned what I've learned, and I am just a natural born person that loves to share. I just love to share anything that I feel is helpful and hopeful and wonderful for anyone else. I am just there. I just love this stuff so much.
And it shows, and your passion for everything that you're doing, your authenticity just shines. It's just like it's permeating the energy. I'm looking at you. I'm like, she is such a spiritual superstar. I've been saying that to you since day one. Spirit shows me things before I often see, very often. That's why I'm a visionary. I see people in their success before they ever see it. Not everybody achieves the level of success that I see. They have to believe it. But you have already, and you will continue to. I know, I feel, I see, and because of you being you. And I'm excited because I know what I see for you, and it's huge, girlfriend.
You've just been so important to me as well. You were one of the first people that really understood me and helped me as well. Helped me by letting me come on your show and believing in me and encouraging me, and I'll just absolutely eternally be grateful. Like, this is my beginning of where I started. This is my beginning, really, in all of this, because of your openness to spirit and your openness to acknowledging expansion when you see it as well. You have completely and utterly been like an absolute, total and utter start of all of this, which is happening. And I will always credit you and High Vibrational Mastery of being the bedrock that began all of this, you know.
Thank you so much.
That will be, I will, if I get the chance, honestly, and I really think I will.
I think so. I know you
I
will.
think I will, to, you know, write books or start institutions or whatever is going to happen through this now. I feel this energy, like I just know it's going places. And I will, it will be documented somewhere, you know. And we've got to really, really, and I just want to say this right at this moment in time, we have to stop in any way, shape, or form playing down ourselves and be able to talk about our dreams openly, maturely with each other. We need to be able to be very, very mature about this. It's like trying to have a conversation with an immature boy, and you say something that could be a connotation, and they're giggling, and we just sort of got to get over that. You know what I mean?
Everybody, I feel very strongly about this, but I feel like people are all coming from their own space. And if people are, not everybody's going to be right in alignment. Like if you're in a really great space, there's going to be some people around you, even if they normally are, maybe they're having a lower vibrational day. And I know, because I know I have this effect on people too. And they don't show it to me. I don't see it, but I know it exists because I feel the energy. You know, where people will be like, oh, whatever. And who cares, honestly? Because if anybody's reacting to you or in any way about anything, they're projecting their own. I know you know this, but I'm just telling everybody else. They're projecting their own stuff. And so I do think it'd be great. And so let me ask you this. So what do people need to do to be the kind of person that can do what I did for you? I recognize amazing talent. I see it. I support you. I encourage. That's what my whole show is about, honestly. That's what I'm really good at this, you know. I've always, and I've got an ego like everybody else does. I mean, a human being has a personality and a persona that they're, even if they keep evolving, they're still somebody. And so, but I am always able to set myself aside. But honestly, like I feel like when we celebrate others, we celebrate ourselves. So it is kind of selfish in a way. But
I've got this catchphrase going on at the moment, see, that I cannot get out of my head is my success is your success and your success is my success. And just getting into that mindset that we are all supporting and helping and paving the way for each other. You know, obviously this is all down to one's own sort of like desires and wishes and knowings and feeling in alignment with, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, if I don't feel in alignment with something, I, you know, just politely just sidestep, you know, but when I see something in alignment, I'm like, whoa, this is so good. You know,
it feels good.
You know, you have to discern. But I think everybody just really, it's a new way of thinking. And when you are so in your own happiness, you've got nothing to lose.
Yes.
You've got nothing to lose, you see, because you're not depending on other people for things. You're not depending on other people for your happiness. You're not depending on other people for anything. So you can just be free. You know, and that's the wonderful thing about like my marriage. It's like we are so free with each other. You know, I don't expect him to get into all my stuff. I don't make him do anything that he doesn't want to do, or, you know, I don't go crying down there and expecting him to fix me. You know, I go to spirit. I go to source to fix me. I go to me to fix me.
Yes.
Go to you to fix you. And the less you depend on everything out there, the better. And then you can just enjoy it.
100%.
Because you're free. You are free with them. You are free with the world. Leave them all to it.
And you know,
Tend to your own self.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the irony is that what we coin as that selfishness has to be the fundamental way of being. Because if you do not tend to yourself first, you and your inner being is projecting your highest good upon you. And if you are not acknowledging it, and if you're not listening to it, and you are just going forward into all this disharmony, it will manifest. in all sorts of ways that are not pleasing. You have to know what makes you happy. You have to know what makes you happy, because happy is the divine.
I feel like some people don't know what makes them happy.
Well, you got to figure it out.
I
And
would have asked
that's
myself
what you're
that
doing.
question 6 years ago when I first started listening to Abraham. I'm sure I asked myself that question. And what do you say to
figure it
people?
out.
Gotta
We
figure
got to
it out.
figure it out.
Because nobody
And it will
knows what to tell you.
And it will
Oh,
bite you on the ass so hard that you will not be able to ignore it. You'll think, I really don't like that.
And back to supporting each other for a moment. Spirit brought that into my awareness to mention that, as we know, abundance is infinite. So there is no, so if let's say that you're supporting, like I support Sam, and I think she's amazing and she's a spiritual superstar, and I put her out there as much as I can, right? And introduce her to people and everything else. Now, if there was a limit on abundance, well, wouldn't I be promoting Sam instead of myself, because there's only a limited number of there isn't. It's infinite. Even just saying that felt awful. Just there's an infinite abundance. There's no limit to how much money, how much happiness, how much success, how much of anything. There's no competition. A lot of people, Sam, don't do things because they're like, oh, well, there's so many people doing that already. And that blows me away as a reason why somebody wouldn't pursue their own passion because other people are maybe pursuing their own, or just working in a certain field. Or that would be like saying, well, why should I don't happen to personally paint. Maybe I will one day. It's my dream. But anyway, although it wasn't my dream before, but now I actually want to do it. But so why would I paint a painting? Why would I even want to involve myself in anything like that and teach myself how to paint when there's so many other paintings in the world? You know what I mean?
And the answer is because it makes you happy.
Yes, exactly.
And being happy is enough. Being happy is enough.
It is. But when you do when you live your passion, like as far as, like what I know about like spiritual business, when you're living your passion, that's when you achieve success. You're not doing it for the success. You're doing it for the excitement and the passion, right? And then you're so happy about it, and people feel that and they know that, and they're going to want to learn from you, or hear your music, or read your poetry, or read your spoken word, whatever it is. Read your spoken word. Anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really powerful because you're putting it out, and you're putting it out there your way. Sam and I could both talk about the LOA based on Abraham's teaching forever, and we would have different people. Some of the same people would follow both of us, but some would only be drawn to the way Sam teaches. I'm speaking interestingly, and then others would only be drawn to the way I teach, and we could be teaching the same stuff. That's like I used to share Abraham with like anybody, and it's not for just everybody. I may share it if I'm drawn, but I never would but it's different. When you're first so excited about the law of attraction, you want everybody to know. But so what do you do with that? I went off on a tangent there, but it was so like, what do you do when you see someone maybe that you might feel is that I know where I'm going with the question, but I'm just going to give it to you and let you fix it up. So maybe you see someone that's out of alignment, or you want to help them somehow, and so you want to turn them on to the law of attraction. I'm going to give that to you.
Well, many times they don't want to listen, and so you don't bother. You just walk by because you know that they don't want to listen to what you've got to say, and I never insert my opinion upon anybody. But if somebody reaches out and wants to talk to me, I am very intuitively talk to them where I think that they can listen, because that's compassion, that's kindness as well. And I think just one other thing I wanted to say from a tail end of something you said a little while ago. Nobody wants anybody to do anything for you. Nobody wants anyone to do anything for you. Everybody wants to do it for themselves. The pleasure is in the doing it for yourself.
Yes.
Now, I can be entertaining. Someone could be entertained by me. Someone can resonate with me. But really, the real fun is you going off and doing something yourself and discovering something about yourself that was unknown. That is the real pleasure. Nobody gets pleasure out of somebody else doing something for you.
No, they may get relief in the moment, but there's not that satisfaction. That's how I'm perceiving it. There isn't that satisfaction. There's a level of empowerment, self-empowerment. When you do things for yourself, when you become your own hero, there's a level of empowerment. Nobody can touch you. Nothing can touch you because you've done it. You didn't outsource your power to anybody. You kept it and you owned it and you fixed whatever you perceived as broken. And now you're living an amazing life. And there's honestly, this is my personal experience, that nothing, I get my thing caught in my scarf. There's nothing anybody can do or say that would. Sometimes I even have to remember to look to see if anybody's commented on something I did, because I'm like, oh yeah, that's part. I mean, and I love you guys so much. I mean, a big part of what I do is because you're there. I love the co-creation, but I don't do it trying to please somebody else. I don't know how I got off.
That's where it starts getting bitter.
Yeah,
because people never behave themselves the way that you want them to. And you got to let it go. The more you can just let it go and just please yourself, you'll be so much happier at the end of the day. And when anyone else buzzing off of it is such a bonus. I love it myself. When you get together with people and you're buzzing, I get such a buzz as well. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But I love it when it's just natural. I had the most amazing buzz today. Oh my God, what a day again. I reached out to someone to come on my show who practices the law of attraction, really, 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 really practices it as well. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to him, and it was so funny because my audio didn't work, and it was all completely like boom, boom, boom. I only contacted him like yesterday, and he's never heard of me in his life before. Okay. And then we got into this little conversation. I said, do you want to chat right now? I said, we should chat before you just leap on my show. Do you know what I mean? And so I go, what about right now? I was like, yeah, right now. And so I got my computer up and everything else, and the audio didn't work. And so I had to go onto my phone. And you know what song was playing? The Vortex song that I wrote randomly. I didn't have it open. It wasn't on YouTube. It wasn't on my computer. Nothing. The Vortex song started playing right when I was talking to this guy. It's moments like that. I know.
That's amazing. Because when Sam, when you came on my show just earlier, said that's what you were talking about. I said, I pulled up the Vortex song.
I was like, spirit. I was just like, are you gonna believe it? It was just like, what? And then I just sent in my song. I said, this is a song that came on when we were trying to connect. And he was going, you wrote that song? He goes, that is the most awesome song.
Oh, I love that. It's an amazing song. Shall we play it and let everybody hear it? All right. I'm going to remove myself from the screen to give the song a little more room. I'll be right back.
Yay.
Alive inside the vortex. Alive in passion and alive.
I love that. I absolutely love that song. I do. The first time I heard it, then I was like making my bed or something, and I'm singing the song in my head. Live the life inside the vortex. Anyway, so I'm like, what? And so I'm like, that's going to be a hit. That's a hit. I'm singing it. It's playing in my head like that. I know. And then I get these scalp chills. That's, yep.
I know. I'm going to write the rest of it soon.
It's a great song. I can't wait to hear the rest of it. That's a hit. I think you guys enjoy that. We have some Kai Otto. Yeah, Otto says extended version. I know he wants that song too.
I know. I'm so excited about it.
Tamara says that was a beautiful song. Sam loved it. Also, she said before, I didn't catch that. When I'm not in alignment with something or react immediately, I'm aware of where I need to focus and look within myself. And she goes, that message was my message given to me today, finding my passion. I think I'm two separate things I'm reading here, but both from Tamara, remembering what brings me joy. Thank you. Thank you for
It's
that.
just all about, you know, we get so conditioned into being miserable, you know, by everybody, and we really got to ignore it. I know it's hard because it's like, it feels like the whole world is at it sometimes. It's just like, am I the only one? You know, you start feeling a bit like you're like this strange person that wants to be happy, and like everyone's continually just trying to take you down and take you down and take you down. Everyone in the supermarket, oh, have you heard this? And you know, and you're like, guys, if you're not gone outside and had a look like how amazing everything is, do you know what I mean? Am I the only one that's like seeing this?
I hear
And
you.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, look at the nature. Have you not gone to a forest recently and just sat in it and just kissed a tree? Have you not kissed a tree recently?
I hug them every day. Yeah.
Paint something incredible. Or if you're not, you know, come on, this life is just phenomenal. This is our life. Do you know how incredibly lucky and like blessed that we are that we're on this planet? We are like the only like conscious things that we even know of in the universe. You're gonna waste it? No, guys. Do you know what I mean? Stop this. We gotta stop this stuff because it's like life. This is your life. You know, we're alive. We're on this planet, and we're capable of feeling this connection with spirit. That is where all of our happiness and joy is, and inspiration. And that's the whole thing that I'm about. Is like, let's connect up and really see where this thing flies to. Come on, let's see where it flies to. Let's just completely, like, that's child's play. Looking at that negative stuff, that was like, you know, how many years ago? I haven't even watched news or anything like that. You know, just completely blitz it out. It's like, stop focusing upon it. There's other things you can focus upon. There's millions of things we can focus upon. And those things, we don't even want to get addicted to focusing on things on the outside of us either. It has to be said, because we really need the power of vision. We need the power of imagination. Sorry. We need the power of imagination and vision, because it comes out of the darkness of the mind and then forms matter. So it really is about getting the heart in the right place, because we need the heart in the right place as we're lying there in the darkness. When we're lying in the darkness, that is our place where we feel we have, for me, that is where my light is in the darkness of my eyes closed and my imagination. So it's just looking at the imagination. It's eradicating ideas like what is dark is bad, or anything, any kind of attachment thought-wise. So we've got all these thoughts that are attached to other thoughts, and now we need to sort of break it. We need to keep on breaking the circuit in the mind. So I'm very much about sort of like the physical side of it as well. So it's like, as soon as you start thinking that, we will have an essence, an association that we have learned through time, what that word means and what that thought means. And that thought will lead to another thought, and will lead to another thought. And now we just need to start getting fully aware of like these thoughts, giving them new meaning, giving them the fresh new meaning.
Reframing your thoughts.
Reinventing your mind.
Okay. Wow.
Reinventing your mind in the alignment of source is going to yield the most incredible feelings. First, it starts with a passionate feeling, and then it revs up into passion, into action, and then it revs up into witnessing it manifest.
Yes.
So there's this sort of and this is what Abraham's talking about, but I'm here to try and explain it in different ways, and how to practice being at ease and peace in your imagination and clearing out the nightmares that have no place there. We can just not focus on them and they will disappear like the boogeyman, right? They're just the boogeyman with just something we have made up in our heads, okay? At the end of the day. Listen, I know that there's stuff going on in the world, and when we are in alignment, we are so much more powerful than when we're miserable, you know? So you can tackle any subject on this planet, from the worst case scenarios right up to the most fun you could possibly ever imagine. When we're standing in alignment, you will be able to tackle all things with love and a joyful heart. A joyful heart. We have to go through this in NA as well, in the 12 steps. What are your reservations of being happy? What are your reservations of giving up drugs? What are your No, I can never get through
sales. What's holding you back?
I can never get through Christmas without having a drink. I could never do it. Okay, that's a reservation. This is the same sort of thing. What can you not get through that you cannot give love a crack at? What possible thing? Is it the starving children? Is it starving children? Is that the thing that's going to really upset you and take you down? Is it the COVID thing? Is it the government? Is it Bush? Is it whatever his face is? Whatever, the guy, whatever, I can't think of his name, Trump, whatever. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What reason? What are you using as your excuse not to be happy? This is what we've got to root out, right? I don't know.
That's challenging for a lot of people. Not me, because I don't follow politics or watch the news, and I haven't for years. But I will tell you this: I went on this beautiful family vacation the last weekend with my amazing niece, right? Being reunited after 13 years and seeing my mom for her 91st birthday. It was an amazing experience. It was. And my niece is just an incredible young lady. She's really amazing. But we're different in certain ways. She was pointing that out. We're very different in some ways and very different in others. Well, she couldn't seem to, she's very political and she's very into the news. And I didn't tell her anything about what she should do. I would never do that, right? It didn't serve me at all. I'm like, well, this is what I do. So she got frustrated. I could feel it by the third day. She's like, do you think everybody should do that? I'm like, no, not at all. Some people have to be able to look at the contrast and dive in and work with that. That's not my perspective. It's not my calling. I had a lot of contrast. I created a lot of my own contrast earlier in life. I feel very drawn to look away and not look at it. And you know what? And I felt maybe I was being judged for it by her, this beautiful soul who I don't think she knows anything, and that's all right. That's okay, Eric, if you're watching. I understand. Don't worry about it. But I felt it. You know what I mean? When you're psychic and I'm like, oh, that hurt a little bit. But it's okay because I understand that some people are very focused in these ways. So what can people do, Sam, if they are either being judged?
Everyone's got it very well. You can do whatever you want. I don't care.
Right. Of course.
Do whatever you want. I don't care. You want someone to come out and say it? I'll say it. I don't care what you do. You want to do that? Go and do it. Like all of us, you'll learn. You'll learn. How unhappy are you wanting to be, or happy are you wanting to be? Like all of us, we lived a life. We sifted through the data, and it's none of my business what someone else decides to do. None of my business.
I agree, and some people, what I understand, what I think is that at least the way the world is right now, there have to be some light workers dealing with situations that we want to see change. I think. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about that. I know that everything's energy, right? And my energy is definitely to help you raise the vibration of the planet. I do it every day. That is what I'm here for. And so for me, I have to, when I don't look at what I don't want to see, that helps me to do what I do. But what were you going to say?
I think we've got to sort of start understanding this thing that we do. And I'm going to do some work around it with people as well. in the future, and I'm going to coin it something along these lines. The invisible person. The person that we conjure in our minds. It's the person that we don't actually know anything about whatsoever. We don't know the whole story. We don't know their past. We don't know their ancestry. We don't know their spiritual anything. But somehow we know them. We know these people. Who are these people? Who are they? They're the invisible person that we make up in our mind. They're the invisible person. And, ooh, they've got some power. They've got power.
Yeah, we give it to them, right? And do you mean so just to understand, do you mean the invisible person like sometimes, that's funny. I don't know why. I guess maybe it's my grandmother that just gave it to me. When I was a teenager, I've got big hair, right? And it used to be bigger. And my grandmother said, "Don't come over my house without tying your hair in a ponytail. It's a shame for the neighbors." Now, I don't know if she literally meant the people that lived next door to her. Like, did they have a thing about big hair? I don't think so. Or it's just in her mind, the invisible people in her mind she's embarrassed. For her, right? She's embarrassed because her granddaughter with big hair is going to walk into her apartment. Can't have that because the invisible people are going to be judging her. That's what I'm feeling. Sorry, Grandma, but I think she just gave it to me to talk about. I really do.
And now let's sort of just expand on that. Now let's say I now know your grandmother. I know your grandmother, so I'm now going to have an opinion about your grandmother. Now you've told me about your grandmother. You've given me about 30 seconds of information. I am now going to have this great opinion about your grandmother that I'm going to impart upon you. And you're going to listen to me because I know your grandmother now that you've spoken of it. And I'm going to know how she should live her life. I'm going to tell you how she's going to live her life. And so this is what we do. It's a horrible little example, and I'm sorry to just thrust it out into the air like this.
That's okay. I mean, my grandmother had to say that because I'm like, why am I bringing that up, Graham?
But it's something we've got to be on guard about. That we do. It's like we don't know. We don't know the broader perspective. We don't know the broader perspective of anything. We do not know. The only thing we can figure out is ourselves. The only thing we can truly piece together, with the help of spirit guiding us through the mire of all of this, is ourselves and our relationship with Source.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever is standing in the way of that, and a lot of times it is the invisible people, right?
It's self-judgment, guys. That's self-judgment. A lot of times you're taking the character of your mother or your father or somebody, a bully in childhood, and you're carrying them with you mentally throughout your whole life until you finally become aware, like Sam is talking about. You know, you feel what I'm saying, Sam? Where they carry this, like, let's say that dad never, it wasn't like that in my life. My dad was awesome, but I'm just saying, let's say dad never accepted you. You couldn't get his approval no matter what you did. You tried and tried and tried, and dad did not approve of you. He always judged you. Anyway, so then you might carry that judgment forth in your life. You may marry people or become in friendships with people that judge you, and you can't get their approval either. And then you have that same issue with jobs, and then you just keep carrying it on and on until you finally become aware.
And the
Sam saying that's the
thing is as well. It very much depends on your own perception and your own development at that moment in time of how you're perceiving that. Now, I had this as well, just to go very briefly into it. Yeah. I always thought that my father was a certain way as well. And I had this judgment about it, which was very reinforced by everyone around me and all of that. And I formulated opinion about that man. And when I did the work of coming into alignment with spirit, and I was able to love unconditionally without expecting my father to be or do anything that I deemed appropriate or not appropriate, and I just let it all go, and I recontacted him and struck up a friendship. Oh. I found my father to love me deeper than I've ever felt someone love me in my life. And it's a really good example of how we can formulate these invisible characteristics and not see a broader perspective because of our limited perception. And then when you are in alignment, You are ready to attract what you want to attract out of somebody. They cannot be what you have invented them to be in your presence. This is the key of being a deliberate creator, because people cannot be what you do not invent them to be.
I know what you're saying.
They are what you have created them to be. And as it is, it's really not a good idea to have much of an opinion of anybody, because we really do not know them. They're only a snippet in time as well. We are not a picture that is just hung in a wall. We are moving. Anything could happen. Your family could have spiritual transformations next week. You have no idea what is going on. None of us do.
You know, I think it's interesting because I know that another thing that Abraham talks about is how if we don't judge, right? And we just accept people for who they are. And then we send them love. If we love someone from our heart center, they're going to, like you were just saying, they're going to have to show up that way to you. If you feel somebody is a bully and they're persecuting you and you're the victim, they're going to show up that way. The same person, right? But a whole different timeline. They're going to show up differently. So I know that's what you're saying. That's what I feel like, my perception of what you're saying. And I just think it's so powerful. You know,
we are so powerful. This is the message that I've got, is that, we are just so powerful. Our imagination is the first gateway to reality. And we need to look into there and clean it up.
I love that. That's a great point.
We need to tidy it up.
Tidy up,
and I'm very creative with mine as well. I've got little people that live inside my head that like open up doors and everything. You know what I mean? You can really go for it with this stuff. Just have fun with it. I've got people sweeping stuff away, like like the Fraggles.
I do that sometimes.
Fraggles in the mind is going, and I've got people chopping down like things as well. No, we're not having that. No. I've got the magic axe. We're gonna go, nah. And I've got doors that are opening up huge amounts of money. I've got like vaults in there. I've got like secret keys that I put in there, and I turn the key and then I watch it all flow out. And I was like, yeah, I'm feeling the love. Feel the love of abundance. Feel the love of beautiful relationships. Feel the love of cuddling somebody, and just feel the love of doing things that are just so fun and wonderful. It's all about the love, really.
It really is. It really is. I've got to share this with you. I don't think I ever said this on live, but when I was, in my early 20s, I started studying Wicca and the nature-based religions. I don't follow any religion now anyway, but that's not the point. So I was following Wicca, and I was told to get a booking called the Book of Shadows, and things were going to go in, and I didn't know what they were. And I didn't know anything about automatic writing. I didn't know anything about anything back then. I was just learning about crystals. Anyway, although I did know a little bit about I knew about astrology and out-of-body experiences, so I guess I knew something. But anyway, I didn't know about the law of attraction. And I had this book, right? And I'm like, well, what do I write in this book? And so I was efforting, but I'm trying. I'm like, well, okay, like God or spirit or whoever I'm talking to up there, like, what do I write down? And they said, you create your own reality. I was like, I had all kinds of limiting beliefs going on, and I never wrote another word in that book, but I never forgot that sentence because I knew I didn't write it because I didn't have any clue what it meant. You create your
Well, that's one of the best sentences you could probably ever write in your lifetime anyhow.
Yeah, that was the one. I mean, I've written quite a lot, but at the time, I'm excited. I'm excited because, when you overcome limiting beliefs, you're creating a whole new life for yourself. You're creating a whole new self.
There's a couple of really, really key things about the law of attraction teachings that have absolutely transformed my thinking. And I just want to run them very quickly in case no one ever hears this for a long time again.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the most important things within all of this, and I'm just going to run it, I'm not going to explain it massively, is that we are infinite beings and that we never get it done. And that we're just passing through this moment in time And so the pressure's off. The pressure is off to complete anything because this is just going to keep on going like for a long time, billions of years, quite possibly. Okay, so here we are. Here we are. Don't get stressed out about anything because you have so much time that it's not even, we can't even fathom the amount of time that we've got. We're infinite beings, infinite intelligence. We are connected to source energy. We are manifested spirit here on planet Earth. This is what I've learned, and I really feel it as well.
I do too.
The other thing is, which is really massive to understand about the Abraham teachings, is that there's a vortex of creation. This is another way to release pressure. And everything is done. What that means, whatever you are desiring, whatever your big dream is, whatever you are aspiring to, if it's financial, if it's a partner, if it's a career, whatever it is that you have been desiring and you have been asking for, it has been completed in the spiritual world. This means we can relax. Okay, this is massive.
Yep.
I never came across this until I came across Abraham, right? And I've been practicing getting into alignment with that thought for a good 3 years now. What it means, what that really means to all of us is that we don't have to worry about anything. And we only move out into action when we're really feeling good. And every time that start feeling really awful, we just back off. Just back off from it. It's not the right time.
That's a
And if you're not feeling anything at all, that's okay as well. You certainly can do anything that you want to do. But if you really want to understand these teachings, it is really understanding that there's a vortex of creation, and what we have asked for has been collected by the law of attraction and our inner being, because there is another point of attraction, and it's pure positive energy. And in this pure positive energy is everything that we've been asking for. So every time that we're doubting it, we're off the path. Every time that we are forcing it, we're off the path.
Yes.
Every time that we are not confident about it and we're talking in direct opposite to it, we're off the path. All we've got to do is align with the path. All you've got to know is that it is there and it is coming. It's better to say that it is actually done. It is actually better to say it is done because you can feel it. You can envision it. You can live it now. You can lie in your bed and be there in your mind. And you can experience it right now. Right now. There's no tomorrow with this. It is right now. And if anybody wants to quicken up their manifestations, you get into it now. You've got to blast away everything in your mind that has any contradictory information going on within it. What other people think, any limitations about money, any limitations about time, any limitation about places, people, anything has to be obliterated out of the mind. Full alignment with the vortex is where it is at. I didn't wanted to say that before we kind of like ended with anything else because
that's perfect.
Huge. It is a knowing, it is a confidence, it is a rule, it is a place that you get to in yourself that is a feeling of knowing that spirit has got your back covered. Now, I've personally got enough experience with spirit to trust it.
Yeah.
You know, I trust it because I have been trusting it with my life.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, my life, perhaps sometimes that is needed, that you need to get pushed right on the line. But I mean, I just think you don't have to go as far as I went on the brink of death to sort of like get it.
I did apparently. Apparently I had to try that a couple of times in different ways, but I hope nobody has to go that far, you know, and I feel like the younger generation, Sam, are coming up, are like they're starting out in a more enlightened place. They're like their old
Yeah.
souls coming where they're coming in now, and then the energy. So hopefully, not everybody has to go through the types of things that we have been through in this incarnation. And but in order to wake up, because it's all knowledge. It's all for our expansion. There's other ways to expand. I know that's what you're saying. Like basically, like you don't have to get to the brink of death in order to expand. And well, that's why.
I know what I've just said is a stretch of the imagination. I agree. I mean, I agree that it's a big stretch. It's not even a little stretch. That is like the biggest stretch I've ever had to do in my life, right? To believe in this vortex of creation has challenged everything I have ever known. It challenged absolutely everything. But all I can say is I feel with all of my heart, that what Abraham is saying is from a place that is incredibly special and enlightened. And
Yes.
I've had to work through it. I've had to work through the disbelief of it, and then the belief of it, and then the knowing of it, and then the understanding of it.
Right.
I've only touched the surface here by saying it. It goes deep. It goes incredibly deep. The long and short of it is about unconditional love. It is about love, and it is about power, and it is about your own happiness, and it is about allowing. And this is where my head has been today, being brave enough,
Yep.
brave enough to dream your dream. That is not in an alignment statement with the vortex, because there's no bravery involved, because there's knowing. You go way past bravery.
That's true.
Okay.
The knowing.
You go way past courage. You go right into knowing your dream is manifesting. Okay. Right now. Like big time. Big time.
I love that.
So
thank you.
So yeah, I just wanted just to sort of say that. And I say to everyone very openly as well, just watch me. Watch what happens. Watch me and watch what happens. And I like to be the power of example in myself. I don't do it to please you. I'm doing it to please me.
You go, Sam.
That's it.
I love it.
And that's all I want to, that's what you got to say. That is all you can say. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. When it happens, there'll be a lot of people listening. And I will say the exact same thing that I've just said right now. It's just like, yeah, it's been a challenge, and I did it, and I went for it, and I'm bloody glad I did. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Well, thank you so much.
I'm free as well. I'm still in the imagination phase.
Aren't we always?
Yeah. Well, we'll never get it done. We're always on to something new.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I wanted to say that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for being my guest today, Sam. This has been amazing. I'm sorry. I have to run because my dogs have to eat now. So they're like, Mom, we have to go out. So I have to go. But this has been incredible. I love you so much. You're amazing. I'm excited to be your guest next. What's the date on that show? And tell everybody when your shows are, by the way, when they can see you.
Oh, yeah. Next Saturday. I think it's the 23rd, is it? Yeah, that sticks out in my mind. Yeah, it's the 23rd. Oh, I'm so excited to have you on the show. And we're going to talk about law of attraction stuff again. Yep. And, just your journey. I really want to hear more about what's been going on for you and how all of this has really helped. And, you're just in the throes of manifesting so much incredible stuff. So we're so excited. So that's at 5:00, but that's UK time.
Okay, so 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
12 p.m. Eastern Standard.
9 Pacific.
Yeah, 9 a.m. Pacific.
11, 12, yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. So that's perfect.
Thank you so much.
You're and Sam, where else can they find you if they want to, do you have a group or something? What have you got going on where if people want to follow you?
You can go to Alignment Alchemy, the group. And also you can just add me as Serenity Sam as well on Facebook.
Perfect. And we'll put that in the comments too. So thank you guys. Thank you for being here with us. This has been a pleasure, Sam. I love you and I love all of you. And thank you. And I'll see you really soon.
Yay. See you later. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.